Welcome to another episode of Hard in the Paint. We are back and we're here with the team. ISO, I think we should stop talking about Dame Dollar at this point. If he wants to die in Portland, I probably said that's sorry too harsh, but if he wants to stay in Portland and become an old man and never win a ring, he can just stay there and be on his own. I'm tired of this caping. Oh, Dame should go here. I feel bad for Dame. I don't give a fuck anymore. Whatever Dame wants to do, I don't care. Let's stop talking about Dame. Around the key where we pass the ball around like the Golden State Warriors. And before we do that, I want to introduce the content creator, the GOAT, the betting woman herself, Rossi. Everybody make some noise. How you doing, Rossi?
I'm doing great. A little frazzled. The New York traffic is something else.
So introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rossi. I've been a sports content creator for technically about a year.
Like the girl from Remember the Titans.
Oh, I'm exactly like her. That actually was me. That was me.
Yeah,
actually,
facts.
I started that.
I said teams should embrace the super team, but I was talking about teams on the East, not the West. I think super teams are important, and you always need 3 solid pieces to take you to the next level. If the Phoenix Suns do not win a championship this year, we have a problem, and that problem is for KD. I know people don't want to talk about legacy and but KD has 2 rings after 4 loaded teams. He had one team with OKC with James Harden, Russell Westbrook. He had one team with Kyrie Irving and James Harden. He had another team with obviously Steph and Clay, and now you have a team with Bradley Beal and DBook. So if you're going to do this and make all these moves and saying after you're saying that you're going to stay in Brooklyn and you're going to finish your career there, if you don't want a ring here, how do we feel about Kevin Durant?
I mean, you can't deny how good of a player he is, so he doesn't deserve slander, and I do think the Suns have one of the best chances to win this year. So if not this year, it's like, what other team is he going to go to? But I think the Suns, they're in my finals prediction along with the Sixers. So, but we'll get into that later.
I think the Suns might have fucked themselves.
The people who are the KD naysayers are the people who say, oh, you need a super team to win. And that's what he has right now. So he wins this year. Even if he does win a title, people are still going to say, oh, KD, you needed all this help to win. There's nothing he can do now except if he were to do the opposite of what we want Dame want to do, which is go and like carry a team. But he doesn't want to do that, it sounds like. And also, he's not the GM. Let's remember, it's not his fault if the general manager of the Suns is, making big baller moves and setting up this team around him.
And I want to say the Wizards got fleeced.
Oh my God.
They got fleeced. They didn't even get a first round pick out of that.
There should never be a no trade clause in the NBA ever again, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like this was a bad trade for both teams. Mm-hmm. The Wizards got absolutely nothing back, and I think the Suns are now handicapped with the new CBA. I worry for both teams going forward.
I would have loved him on the Sixers. I'm a little biased there, but would have loved him.
You think you would have won a championship if you got Beal? Like James, let's say
That's
James Harden
question.
stays, you get Beal, and then you have Joel Embiid. Do you win a championship with that team?
No.
Okay, so it would have been
Probably
a waste.
not. Probably not. No matter how much talent we have, it's like nobody wants to score. They're all scared, except Joel Embiid, but half the time he's not playing.
If you had the opportunity to get Beal, what would you give up?
Not a first.
Okay, well, okay, I'm up with that.
I don't see the Sixers
I feel like
doing that.
They were holding Bradley Beal hostage at this point, right? You gave him all this money. He got the Supermax, correct?
Yeah.
If you're going to give somebody a Supermax, that means you have faith in that player.
Yeah.
So for you to do that and then just give him away like that, that's just mind-boggling to me, because that just shows you that you're a shit franchise. You got Draymond Green on the move. He declined his player option. Who's going to give him that back?
It's kind of shocking that to me that he wants all that money, because I think he's made enough. He's aging, he's declining. I don't think someone's gonna pay him that much. And also, doesn't he have a podcast? Like, he's probably making bank from that. I think he already has enough money at this point. Like,
new media.
Everybody just wants a max contract nowadays, and they're like, I gotta feed my family. It's like, you're already a billionaire. Like, you don't need more money.
To be fair, I want to say this though. He didn't say he wanted more money.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So,
you're right.
He could go and take a vet minimum if he does end up with the fucking Lakers.
I don't think he deserves a vet minimum either.
I think he's going back to the Warriors. I think the only reason people see him going to other teams is the Warriors because he's been on the Warriors. If you look at the Warriors without Draymond right now, they need a versatile defender who can set screens and can play down on the block. That's exactly what Draymond Green does. So I think he's going to be back. I think the type of deal it's going to be is you backload a lot of that money and you don't guarantee it until the later years of the contract. So you can bring Draymond back. He doesn't have that big of a cap hit. And then after year 1 or 2, you can decide there's a way to do it. You just got to be smart with it. And yeah, Golden State's still the best fit.
The only thing I can think of is if the Golden State Warriors give him another deal, which I don't even see that happening. Because why would you give Draymond a long-term deal? I know Steve Kerr said like, yo, if Draymond leaves, the dynasty is over.
If Draymond's not back, we're not a championship contender. We know that.
I think he should have opted into his deal and then try to run it back one more year. And if you go win another championship, maybe we can talk about another contract or so. But I don't think anybody else besides that is going to get championship. It's all this LeBron shit. Yeah, they're in France, eating baguettes and shit like that. But I don't think that Draymond Green is going to be a Los Angeles Laker. It doesn't make any sense. He's not a shooter. It doesn't do anything good for the Lakers. Are CP3, Paul George, and Kawhi enough to win a championship?
I think they could be, but I mean, from what I've read, I thought they were kind of interested in re-signing Westbrook.
I saw that too. Yeah.
I thought Westbrook had a pretty good year with them. He seemed so happy. Like it seemed like he was always like smiling. I don't see why they would go and sign Chris Paul, especially when they're trying to get healthier. And Chris Paul has a bad history of not being healthy.
That would be 3 stars on your team that are injury prone. Paul George, Kawhi, and CP3. So it would be. But I personally, I think the better fit for them would be CP3. I think I'm notoriously a Russ hater on this show. So I think if you get CP3, I think that gives you a better chance. And I think it would be a full circle moment for CP3 in trying to win a championship.
I think it would also be full circle to finally see him go to the Lakers after that got blocked years ago. I think that's a better fit. CP's bread and butter is the pick and roll. And you have 2 great partners with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. DBook, he's all right, but like that's not half as much fun as pick and roll with those guys in LA. I think he's obviously banana boat buddies with LeBron. I think that's a better fit for him.
I feel like when my time's up and I retire and I put the shoes up, I feel like there's gonna be people who are gonna say, you know, that I changed the game.
Do you feel like Cat has changed the game?
Oh boy.
Can pigs fly?
Maybe. Nah, they can't. How do you feel about Cat and Pat Bev having this collusion of propaganda?
Cat's best attribute is how well he can talk. I don't agree with that statement at all. He's a great player. He's really good to bet on. That whole team is just full of people who hype themselves up.
Listen, I'm not listening to anybody that has to change their voice.
In London, I was working out and my phone was off. So when I walked back upstairs into the hotel,
because after all that, they took him off the court to put him even closer to the locker room. So I was like, all right.
He is the best shooting big of all time. He's got more threes made than any big ever.
Karl Anthony Towns, are you the best shooting big man of all time?
Yes. You don't gotta finish the rest of the question. What's the next?
There are guys though that came before him. Like he wasn't the first to the panel of glass. Like you had LaMarcus Aldridge, you had Brook Lopez, these guys who were shooting before Cat. Cat may have taken that and then done the best with it now that the game has changed, but I don't think anyone's gonna look back and say that he was the pioneer.
It's just crazy enough that people are gonna tune into a show and be like, Cat's a great player, but I think that's a little bit too far to say about him.
It was more special what we did in Minnesota because we had like a month and then we had training camp and it was like, you better figure it all out right now. Yeah. And we really figured it out quick. Yeah. Think about it. They had what? Jokic been in the league
4 years.
If you think about it, 4 years, we got it done in 4 months.
We're talking about Pat Bev here. Like, I love Pat Bev and I love what he brings to the table, but I feel like winning a play-in, that's a participation trophy. How can you compare yourself to what Jokic did? He beat LeBron, he beat KD, he beat your ass. Then he went and won a championship against the great Jimmy Butler, aka Michael Jordan's son. Nothing compares to what the fuck y'all did.
He came into this world as the son of a coach, but in these playoffs, he became the Lakers' daddy.
It's just embarrassing.
It's just weirdo shit.
And then you have the parade where he wore the shirt that was talking about the Lakers when he said after they went up 2-0. So now they're obsessed with the Lakers. They're talking shit about the Lakers. LeBron went to France and he was having a great old time. He heard the news and he responded back on Instagram. You think it's corny?
I think it's corny from both ends. I think LeBron could have made a one sentence. He didn't need to say all that. It also is true. They're living rent free. And I mean, if you don't have haters, you're not popping. So LeBron is obviously the GO, and he's got plenty of haters. So he should just shrug it off. He doesn't need to post a paragraph about it.
If I'm LeBron, I would think that would add fuel to the fire. So I would feel like you need to do that shit. So, but I think it's good for the NBA because it's gonna start like a rivalry, right? So it's gonna be something that when you come back next year, we're gonna want to see this. So if they get to the playoffs and they happen to match up again, we're gonna remember all the things that Mike Malone said, and then this Instagram post of LeBron responding. I think this will be another situation where they'll run it back, and this will be a lot on the line where you can have drama and actually be excited about seeing somebody play the Denver Nuggets. Now we're building drama, and it's going to be exciting next year when we come into the season.
The most boring finals of all time.
You agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the
Y'all
most.
hate basketball is the problem.
Bring 2016 back? Like hello, 2015, 2016.
2016 was a movie. I'll say
Peak year for basketball.
I feel like with that, two things can be true. I think that, yes, it's good basketball, but it could also be boring as well. It just wasn't a good series.
There were some veterans who will accept the veterans exception to play for the Suns. Well, Kevin Love is number one. They need front court depth. The Suns were in the mix for him when he got bought out earlier this year. And then the other guy I like is Jeff Green, who just won a chip. More wing depth. Still got that bounce, and he's buddies with KD. So I like it.
Wherever they get in terms of that, it's not going to do anything where it's like a significant change into like the roster, what they need and what the bench. It reminds me of like that first Miami Heat team, right? Where they had a strong big three, but obviously the bench wasn't that strong that first time around. When you think about the Phoenix Suns, I think that they're going to have to rely heavy, and they're going to have to plug and play a player that's just going to come out of nowhere and give them some help.
For a long time, it was the veteran minimum, and then there was the taxpayer minimum. With the new CBA, veteran minimum, taxpayer minimum. So there's a huge difference before. So if I'm a veteran and I want to sign for the veteran minimum on the Suns, I'm going to make like $2 million, and I'm passing up the taxpayer. So I'm losing out on maybe like $5 million. Now you're losing out on like $10 million. So if you go to a team like the Nuggets, you can still be a contender and make like 10 extra mil, whereas you go to the Suns and you're making 10 less mil.
I mean, bench is so important in basketball. So it's like, as a GM, why would you put all your eggs in one basket? You're kind of setting yourself up for failure. But at the same time, you are potentially having ammo to go to the finals and win. So
you look at the Suns, like you go and get KD because you want to win now. Like you made that choice. So it's like, all right, how do we put him in the best position possible where he can go and win a championship? Obviously, we know what we got to deal with, and that is the Denver Nuggets. So we have to get enough firepower to be able to deal with that.
So their Achilles heel was depth. That's why they lost this year. And they didn't just not address that. They went in the complete opposite direction and sacrificed more depth. So that's, I mean, that's why it's like.
But the crazy part about all this, they kept Aiden.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's where Washington screwed up, in my opinion.
I love
the fact
him,
that you
so.
couldn't pry DeAndre Ayton.
They didn't get one first-round pick, and they kept Aiden, which is fucking crazy. What are they doing in DC?
I told you, that's why it's a bad trade all around. Like, yeah, it could end up in a Suns championship, but that's such like an if, like with like you just talked about, like injuries and like guys can fall off and like there are issues with that. Like it's
it takes more than superstar players to win the championship too. Like you need depth.
Yeah.
We forget so quickly. The Nuggets literally just won because of depth, and we're already talking about how the Suns are the supposed title.
It's another Brooklyn Nets 2.0 I swear.
That Nets team
mark
was
my
better.
words. It's
I'll
the
say
Kevin
that.
Durant effect. Like everywhere he goes, like people just like I swear.
You think he's cursed?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what he gets.
That's fair. Should Dame stay if the Blazers get Zion?
He wants to stay no matter what. You could take the basketball out of the game and he would still stay there. Like he just loves it there for some reason. As a 76ers fan, I have been manifesting Dame to come here. That hasn't worked. He just seems to love it there. I can't make it make sense.
Charlotte Hornets and teaming up with LaMelo. Is that a good fit for Zion and moving forward?
I'm worried about Zion's health, and I'm worried about, a franchise holding him accountable, and the Charlotte Hornets don't check either of those boxes. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see those two on the court. So I think LaMelo and Zion are a good duo. Zion and the Hornets are not.
Realistic thing, I think Zion should stay in New Orleans. All this is getting blown out of proportion because his dealings with a porn star, right? And either this is a smoke and mirror situation, or they're just fed up with Zion not being on the court. But I think the best thing is for them is to stick it out and ride it, because I don't think anybody's making a logical move here if they do this.
I don't know. I wouldn't hate seeing him moved. I think with the issues you just said too, maybe being close to home is a bad thing. Like maybe if he does go to North Carolina, maybe that's a bad thing. But I also think being with Dame would be a great for everyone. I mean, I think Dame deserves something.
Honestly, I would like to see Zion in New York, bro. Like, I think that was supposed to happen, like, realistically, before, like, the draft happened when he got drafted. All the signs pointed to Zion coming to New York in some way, shape, or form. I think it would be great. I think it would be electrifying. And then you can move Julius Randle. and like you guys hate Julius Randle in New York for some reason. So you can have that piece, and I think it would be exciting for the Guardians. So, but the only problem is Zion comes to New York and he gets hurt again. You think the fat shaming is bad in New Orleans? It's going to get bad in New York. It's going to be fucking terrible. I would like to see him in New York, but I don't think he leaves New Orleans.
We've seen so many teams stick it out with players for so much longer. Players who are not nearly as good as Zion is or could be. I think the Pelicans are throwing in the towel way too early.
If it's only been 4 years, it's pretty. I feel like it's pretty grimace to just like get rid of him. So I mean, why not let him ride?
Thank you, Rossi, for coming on. Even though nobody calls you Lauren, aka Rossi. We had a great time. You had great hot takes. You know what I'm saying? It's the gang always. Make sure you like and subscribe. Harder than paint. We out here. Gang gang. Does JBobby make you angry? Well, that's good. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe, baby.